The stairs are yeah, be careful. It's very steep.
Keelan. Is that right? Right now it's just... Look at that, Keelan. It's creepy.
Oh my god, look at this doll. So there's ghosts here overnight? Yeah.
Are you guys scared? This is ridiculous.
Look at that doll. It has a mustache. Look at the Ouija board.
You want to do it?
Eh?
Bro? Let's do it. I just had that about this head. Okay. Actually, watch nothing happen. Okay, that's something.
What?
Well, you said that.
Oh my gosh, someone's in the coffin.
I'm going.
Wow. What can do it? We're going to be in here for a while, guys. If you're on this, are you on the...
Whoa.
Guys, come on, we're just going to do a little arc here. I'm going to use the photos for reference. Well, first of all, I want to apologize. We didn't have a chance to clean up before we came in. This is the way we found this. We left it this way on purpose. You couldn't find a better backdrop to tell the story. To tell the reconstruction story, I'll focus on one street. You just walked off of that street. This is modern-day Cherry Street. Here are two different views of Cherry Street. This is Cherry Street before the fire, downtown Seattle, 1870s. And this is Cherry Street 2 months after the fire. That would be the second half of 1889.
What's that toilet that you were talking about? That was under there.
We're going to a different tunnel. Okay, so we're walking to the next tunnel, and I don't know where it's at, but we're here. Yeah, we were. Hang on, Tia. Hang on.
He's on your side.
And have a seat. Leave yourself out.
Oh, that's
Cool.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat.
But I'm sure you're curious about the bar we just walked to. This bar is part of the Comedy Underground, the nightclub, the part they don't use anymore. I will show you the main part of the nightclub, the stage area, shortly. But they will open this bar up when they have big crowds for the club, open the bar up, and then extend part of the bar underneath the sidewalk next to it as a lounge area. So you might be curious, who owns the tunnels? How do we do this tour? Tunnels are all owned by the city, all 20 square blocks. But the building owners next to the tunnels have easement rights. As a building owner, if you want to extend the basement level of your building next to the tunnel, or underneath the tunnel next to it, city's fine with that. They consider it your property at that point. Now, if you have a business below, and you try to extend the business underneath the sidewalk next to it, then the city considers it their property. They want their cut. These are skylights that date from the early 1900s, and look how much light comes through from above. Well, what's the history behind the skylights? The last step of the project to rebuild the city were the sidewalks above. So when they finally installed the sidewalks, that means they abandoned the first floor of the buildings, including the original storefront. Very well-established nightclub. They have shows on the stage almost every night. On weekdays, it's locals or open mic nights. On weekends, they get big name comedians. But it's also a sports bar. It's a gathering spot for Seahawks fans. As far as about a year and a half ago, Adam West grew up in Walla, Washington. The original Star Trek, that's Scotty. The actor's name is James Doohan. Born in Canada, ended up in Redmond, Washington. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco. He met his wife Linda at the University of Washington, and he spent the rest of his life here. Bruce Lee is buried with his son Brandon in Lakeview Cemetery. That's in our Capitol Hill neighborhood. According to the history books, our city had 3 primary founding fathers. They all came from the Midwest. This gentleman originally came from Massillon, Ohio. His name was Henry Yesler, above his wife Sarah. Now, his claim to fame, he brought the area's first steam-powered sawmill. In a timber town, that's a big deal. The man can process trees 3 times faster. A certain generation of Seattleites grew up with a very popular kid show on TV. The kid show had a clown. The clown's name was J.P. Patches, his assistant, Gertrude. Another one of the founding fathers, originally from Cleveland. A doctor and a lawyer, his name was David Maynard, or Doc Maynard. Very smart man. He watched Cleveland grow. When Doc came west, he had some ideas. His best idea was to become friends with Chief Seattle and then name the city after his friend. Right about Chief Seattle, a popular band from the 80s, still rocking, 2 sisters, Ann and Nancy Wilson of the band Heart. They grew up in our Capitol Hill neighborhood. Jimi Hendrix grew up in the suburb of Seattle called Renton, and that's where he's buried. But I don't think you know this about Jimi Hendrix. Jimi did not start his career as a rock guy. My favorite neighborhood in Seattle is about 3 blocks away. It's called the International District. One of the main streets in that neighborhood is Jackson Street. In the 30s, 40s, and the 50s, Jackson Street was considered the top jazz street in America. All the jazz greats played the clubs along that stretch. Jimi Hendrix started his career by playing in blues bands and clubs on Jackson Street. Kurt Cobain grew up in Aberdeen, Washington, sadly committed suicide in a mansion on Lake Washington in 1994. And both Kurt Cobain and Jimi Hendrix are part of an infamous club, the 27 Club. Rock stars who died at age 27. Another big name in the music world is a writer and a producer, Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones was born in Chicago, but his family moved here when he was very young. Quincy Jones went to Garfield High School. Jimi Hendrix also went to Garfield. Today, Garfield High School is one of the best high school jazz bands in America, thanks to the money that Quincy Jones gives to his alma mater. On the end, the oldest and the most popular seafood restaurant in town started by a Scandinavian gentleman named Ivar Hagelin, Ivar's Acres of Crabs. And he had a very interesting advertising line. Instead of keep calm, keep clam. He also started Seattle's first official aquarium on the waterfront. But the odd thing about his aquarium was, if you went there a second time, the fish were always different. All right, aquarium, seafood restaurant, fish are different. This way, folks. This is dedicated to Seattle's fallen firefighters. It's a great sculpture. Unfortunately, it depicts a horrific warehouse arson fire where an entire floor collapsed below these 4 firemen and they died. By the way, a little side note to that, probably shouldn't tell you this, but so it was arson for profit. It was in the Chinatown district, and the man's name was Martin Payne, and he started his own family's warehouse, restaurant warehouse on fire for profit. So, obviously, he ended up in jail. He went to Brazil at first, and they finally brought him here back to justice. So, when he was in prison, he anticipated getting out of jail early. He needed money for that. So, he ran a scam online in prison to try to scam the families of these 4 firemen that died. Well, he was just paroled last week, and the firefighting community in Seattle is not pleased by that.
Okay, so we're still with the underground tour and we're on to our 3rd tunnel. So we're just walking around Pioneer Square and here's the group with us. And we're gonna be on our 3rd tunnel pretty soon here. Right there. Okay, so we're going to the 3rd underground tunnel right down here.
Go ahead.
this place.
All right, this is what micro-oxidation looks like. It's a process they use to reshape these cliffs. When the pioneers first arrived in the 1850s, the ratio of men to women was 10 to 1. So one of our early prominent male citizens, by the name of Asa Mercer, was it. The first landing spot for the pioneers was 4 miles south on a very exposed beach. Today it's called Elkai. It's on the other side of this point. It gives us a positive review. Once again, my name is Dave, and the tour is Beneath the Streets.
So we just got done with the underground tour, and it was pretty cool. What do you guys think of the tour? What do you think of the tour, girl? What do you think of the tour?
I love it.
You love it?
I don't know.
What about you?
It's okay. I liked it.